So, in a situation where we have the lowest mortgage demand in 22 years, there are fewer buyers, there are more sellers. Everything seems to be grinding to a halt in the real estate market. Yes, I am confident in saying I have 5 reasons why, if you're buying a house, this is the best time that you've had to buy a house since before the pandemic, and it's not even close, and it's only going to get better as we get towards the end of the year. This is Steve with the Malone Realty Group at EXP. All right, so let's put it all out there right now. So yesterday we had a report come down that showed that the mortgage demand for new mortgages and for refinances is at its 22-year low. It hasn't been this low for 22 years. That's since 2000, since Y2K and all that craziness way back then. Some people buying houses weren't alive back then, okay? So this is definitely a set off some alarm bells, and we've been talking about the market slowdown. Buyers are starting to pull out. Rates are going up. More homes on the market. All the economic news, everything like that, and things are starting to slow down a little bit. That might mean that this is your opportunity. So in years past, and what we see is when it's an extremely strong seller's market, if there's a house on the market and it looks nice and there's like 500 people putting in offers, everybody thinks, well, I don't want to miss out, so I need to put in an offer. But if it's a really nice house and nobody's looking at it, you're like, I don't know if I should put in an offer. Why should I? We are more motivated as people in buying things. And this isn't just buying houses, this isn't buying anything, this isn't doing a lot of things too. We're more motivated by the fear of missing out and fear of losing than we are by the fear of gaining. So people would much more likely line up in a line with 500 buyers to put an offer in on a house that everybody else is buying than that same exact house if nobody was there. Okay? Because there's no motivation. There's nobody here. We might have to go look at another house. Isn't it? The fear of missing out is a much stronger driving force. Okay, so that being said, for a lot of people, they're seeing some buyers pull out of the market and they think to themselves, this might be the time to slow it all down, whatever. My contention is this might be your chance. If you've been sitting on the sidelines, grab the ball and get in the game because this is our chance. So I got 5 reasons. 5 reasons why this is going to be a great time to buy a house between now and the end of this year. Okay, so 5 reasons. Okay, number one, the prices are not going to go down. Yes, they're super high. Yes, they've been going super high. Yes, they have been crazy year over year. That's going to start slowing down a little bit. But we have such low inventory right now that there's really no market forces that are showing that say that the prices are going to go down. There's not that much inventory, and that's not going to change for years. I'm not talking months, I'm talking years before we can get caught up on new construction, before you have enough buyers in the market to really kind of balance things out. It's going to be years, the way everything looks right now. Everything could change tomorrow, but the way I'm looking at everything, looking at this every single day for the last 5 years, looking forward to what we know, right now, the prices, they may not go up quite as sharply as they have been, but the prices are going to continue to go up year over year. There is no hill, okay? So even if you buy high right now, you just set the new price in the neighborhood. That's how much the house is worth. And in 5 years, it's going to be worth much more than that. That's how it's going to play out, okay? So the prices are still going to go up, okay? So all the people who are worried about the crash, there's no indication. The only indication that there's a crash coming is because it's been too crazy for too long. That's the only indication, and that's not an indication. That's just humans kind of worrying about things, okay? There's no market forces showing that home prices are getting ready to crash. Prices are going to keep going up. That's number one. Number two, the rates right now are terrible. Yes, I just said that that's a great reason to buy a house. That's scaring everybody out of the pool, okay? So, do you take a terrible interest rate and keep that for the next 30 years? No. You take the best rate you can possibly get and you find that house that you've been dying to get for the last 2 years because it's been COVID and you haven't been able to get anything in because there's been 5,000 offers on everything. You find the house, it looks great. Put the offer in and let's roll. Economists are looking forward and they're saying that probably by the time we get into 2024, we're going to be heading back down on interest rates. We're probably going to end in the fours or the threes. And I want you to think, if you found the right house, let's say you're looking at a house that's $400,000 right now. Grab the house for $400,000. You buy it at 5%, 5.5%. Or actually, as of this recording, it's 5.5 to 5.75. Yeah, the rates are not pretty, okay? But you buy that house if you can afford it, okay? I'm not saying go into super duper debt and not be able to pay your bills, okay? But if you can afford it, you get the house at 5.5, 5.75%. You grab it at 400. In a couple years, that home price is going to go up, let's say 5 to 10% each in the next 2 years, right? So you're talking about a house that's going to be worth 475, and you refi it at hopefully something in the threes. So you got a lower rate, you got the house that you wanted, it's already got some value. More than likely, you have enough value in there to where you can waive PMI. You're going to be in a good position a couple years from now. That's the way everything looks right now. The important thing, I tell my buyers this all the time, we want to get a piece of the pie. The rates, if you get a house right now at a rate that's 5.5 to 5.75, if the rates go way up, good deal, you got the lower end of it. If the rates go down, you refinance it and you get the lower rate. Or if the rates stay exactly the same, then if you waited for no reason at all, okay? If you can afford it, grab the house now while people are starting to panic and run out of the building. You run into the building, snag a house now, all right? So that's number 2. The rates are going up. That's scaring people out of the pool. Number 3, and this kind of piggybacks off number 2, there is less competition right now, buying-wise, okay? And it happened very sharply. I had a house in Beaufort in April. Went on the market. We had 120 showings on it. We had 41 offers. 2 weeks later, same price point in Swanee, we had, I want to say, we may have had 30 showings. We had 4 or 5 offers on it. It was like 2 weeks later. 2 weeks. The market completely changed. Okay, now that was beginning part of May. We're recording this the beginning part of June. That's gonna just continue, and I'm telling you right now, everybody's looking right now for homes going into the next school year. Once we get to the end of July, you think there's little number of buyers now, and there's a little bit of competition now. Wait till the end of July, when everybody's settled and they say, well, we're in school, let's just roll. I'm telling you, for the next couple months after that, it's going to be very quiet. So this upcoming period, now and into that period, and maybe it makes more sense late July, early August, to get your deal, because a lot of people, they're getting out of the pool. They're just done. Some of them are scared of the rates. Some of them are worried about home prices. Some of them have the literal buyer fatigue. All right, they are just tired of the game, and I completely understand. I would be too. Some of the stories that I've had to walk my people through, some of the issues. I've got a poor couple, family, love them to death. They've been great friends of mine for years. We have been looking for houses for 2 years for them, and it's been awful because we just haven't found it. And when we do find it, it just doesn't work out, whatever. So they're done for a little bit. Buyer fatigue is a real thing, okay? If you can stomach holding on in this market and getting back into this market, this is a great market to get into because so many people are getting out. So number 3, there's less competition now. Number 4, seasonality is going to return. We just hinted about that. Once we get into late summer, late July, early August, it's going to go quiet. Now, the last couple of years, it has not done that a lot. It did that a little bit last year. There was a market shift once we got into late summer, and then it picked right back up in the fall and went super crazy again. And then in pandemic year of 2020, all bets were off. It was just crazy right out of the gate once we got to around June or July. And it never let off. But I think that this summer, once we get into late July, early August, and the school rush is over, I think it's going to go real quiet through about middle part of September. And then we're going to get some buyers through middle part of December. Everything's going to close before New Year's. And it's going to get real quiet again, January through the early part of February, maybe even late February. That's what we typically see. That's a seasonality that we typically see. I think that's a seasonality that we're going to get back here that we just haven't had. Okay, so keep that in mind. Seasonality returns. So when you're in those seasonal dips, again, we're high in the summer, we come back down beginning part of fall, come up late fall, close to New Year's, then we have a little dip going into February. So if you're buying a house in those dips, great time to get in there because the sellers need to sell their house. All right. I always tell people if you got your house on the market in December, you need to sell your house. Why would you sell your house around Christmas time? Because you need to sell your house. It's a great time to go buy a house, maybe even get a deal. And since seasonality is going to return this year, that's your opportunity. And these dips that you're going to have once we get in the late summer, early part of fall, that could be your chance to go get in there and grab a deal. Finally, there are more homes on the market. That has been the biggest issue through COVID, has been just having an extreme lack of inventory. Extreme lack of inventory. I think the fact that people are more comfortable putting their houses on the market because people are more comfortable having people back in their house. I think the fact that now that there are more houses coming on the market, now people are feeling a little bit more comfortable selling their house because there's the potential for something else to go to. Things are starting to trend in the other direction. Okay, now it's not a full-fledged like freight train of houses coming on the market, but we're trending in the right direction. We're starting to get more houses on the market. That's going to mean that if you're buying, instead of fighting 500 people for one house, you may be fighting a couple dozen people for a couple of houses. Again, this is not an extreme buyer's market by any stretch of the imagination. It's not a buyer's market. All right, it's still a seller's market. But what I said at the beginning, and I'll say it again, this is the best opportunity for buyers that we've seen since before the pandemic started. Okay, so be ready. Again, if you can't afford it, you can't afford it. All right, I don't want you to be in a situation where you're going to go buy a house and be completely house poor and not be able to buy food. That's terrible. Okay, but if you can swing it and it makes sense financially, I think you buy the house now, higher rate, people running out of the building. This is a chance to run into the building because there's no signs at all showing that the home prices are going to go down. Is the economy slowing down? Yes. Do people think the economy is going to crash because of gas prices? Whatever. There's that feeling out there that the economy is slowing down. All these issues. At the end of the day, even though we're adding more houses, we still have an extreme lack of inventory. Okay, it's still a seller's market. So don't get that twisted. It took me a while to get to that point, and I don't want to leave this video without saying that again. This is a seller's market. Okay, we have not flipped that script, and it's not going to happen for a bunch of years. Home prices are going to continue to go up. So I feel like you can go in, grab the house. If it's a high interest rate, if it goes higher, you grabbed it here instead of up here. If it stays here, it stays here, and you got the house before it went up in price. And if it goes down, you refi in a couple of years. So what would you rather do? Buy a $400,000 house now, and then in a couple of years you refi and go down to 3%, or in a couple of years you go and buy a $400,000 house at a lower price, but that $400,000 house is probably worth like $320,000, $330,000, $340,000 right now. Okay, just keep that in mind. Okay, grab the house now, even if it's a higher interest rate, and then make the swing. There you go. That's my thought. If you have questions, you let me know. 470-233-4409. Or you can email me down below, info@malonerealtygroup.com. This is Steve. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye. Hey, thanks for watching the video today. If you want more information on what's going on in the real estate market, take a look at some of these videos over here that we've posted, keeping up with what buying, selling, things that are going on in the North Georgia market. But if you want to keep up with everything that we post to our YouTube channel, be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel down there, bottom right. That way you won't miss out on anything.